Your store for the largest selection of New Balance shoes, insoles, and apparel. The fit specialists at New Balance Boise will listen to your needs and get you the right shoes, insoles, and socks for the right fit. Make no mistake, New Balance apparel is the absolute finishing touch. Visit New Balance Boise in the Albertson Shopping Center, Eagle and McMillan Road.
Hi, this is Callie Zamzo, and it's time for Zamzo's Recharger, the incredible biologically correct lawn food specially designed to prepare Treasure Valley lawns for fall and winter. You see, when my dad Jim Zamzo formulated Zamzo's Recharger, he doubled the amount of phosphorus and potassium of our regular lawn food. That's because in the fall, your lawn is regenerating itself, and Zamzo's Recharger gives your lawn the nutrients it needs to build a strong, healthy root system. Plus, Recharger slow feeds your lawn all winter long, so when it wakes up in the spring, you have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. Recharger is step 5 of the Zamzo's lawn program, but you don't need to be on the program to apply it. You can buy Recharger one bag at a time. But if you do purchase or renew your Zamzo's lawn program before December 24th, you get free Zamzo's Thrive now. Plus 10% off all plants, lawn and garden supplies, and Grandma Z's pet foods through the end of 2024. So purchase or renew your Zamzo's lawn program now.
Nobody knows like Zamzo's.
Are you ready to embark on your dream vacation hassle-free? Look no further than 208 Travel Agency, Boise's premier travel planners. At 208 Travel Agency, we're here to help you save time and take the stress out of planning your next adventure. But that's not all. We'll also help you save money with our keen eye on specials and discounts. Even after you've booked your trip, we handle all the nitty-gritty details and can expertly guide you through any changing travel conditions. So why stress when you can relax? Choose 208 Travel Agency for a seamless and memorable journey. Your dream vacation awaits. Contact them at 208travelagency.com. Discover your world with us.
Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame. Johnny loves the NFL more than anything, and Prater wants to sleep in the woods as much as possible. Sports Radio, The Ticket. It's time for the Bronco Nation News Report with 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains.
Prater in the Ballgame, moving right along in hour number 2. We're about 40 minutes away from welcoming on a Boise State legend in Kyle Wilson. He has been chosen to raise blue chaos, the flag, before tomorrow against Wyoming, so that'll be fun. Until then, let's get to our BNN report. BJ Rains joins us from his Cutwater Can Studios. And BJ, what's up, man? Heard you have 4 burning questions regarding this game.
Oh, they're burning, man. Let me tell you. Happy to be on with you guys. Appreciate it.
Yes. How's your week going, BJ's?
Going great. Happy to be on with you, man. It's Friday. It's as much as the Boise State coaches are tired of talking about that Colorado State game, I think we all are as well. So we're eager to move on to a game tomorrow and have something to talk about, real football. And man, it's a big time for this team right now. They need to win badly tomorrow. I'm intrigued to see what happens.
That's because you and the other media members, a lot of them, kept asking Colorado State questions this week, Prater. Did you notice that?
It was the first time we got to talk to these coaches. They didn't talk last week. So I think it was fair to ask the special teams coordinator about the Hail Mary and to ask about the blocked kick and all that. I thought they can't dodge the questions just because they don't talk to the media, man.
We like to move on here at Idaho Sports Talk, and that's what we're going to do with this thing right here, BJ. What's number 1, this burning question you have about this game?
Well, I phrased it, why the quick hook with Talon Green? And I guess the big question for me is just I don't understand this, and I haven't understood for several weeks here. I'm a Talon Green guy. I've said that. I've made it known. I think he's got a raw deal in a lot of this, and so I just go back to earlier in the season, and I just still don't understand why the rush to force Maddox Madsen into this offense more than they have. So I truly believe that if Talon Green gets 80 to 90% of the snaps moving forward here, this team can win a lot of games down the stretch. I think they need to run him more, and I think they need to do what they did last year. I mean, everyone talks about Talon Green being this terrible passer. He was 61.4% last season. That's not great, but it's better than the 53% he is right now. I think that Talon Green showed last year that it's not perfect, but he went 8-2 as the starter. I know Maddox Madsen can do some things. I know the stats. They say 30 straight points, in 5 games in a row. I know some of the efficiency numbers are better with Talon Green and Maddox Madsen splitting time here. But in my opinion, I just still don't understand why they're essentially giving up on Talon Green as quickly as they have. I think he needs to be the primary quarterback and play 80 to 90% of the snaps the rest of the season.
Oh, BJ, I mean, you're not wrong to some degree, although, Taylor Green's slide when it came to passing was the last 5 games of last year, even with Dirk Cutter, the last 5 games of the season, he wasn't good. He was barely 50%. He's barely 50% this year. And I think that Maddox Madsen can be a 65 to even pushing at 70% passer. So I don't like it either. I don't like this back and forth. Of course, I feel the opposite. I want to see Maddox Madsen play one full game to see what kind of quarterback he can, because I'm not sure we know what kind of quarterback he is. The separation is not that far apart. That's why they go back and forth. I think this is up to the players. And the players to separate, not so much the coaches to figure it out, but one of these players has to take the reins, whether it's in practice in the game, and that hasn't happened yet. That makes it a difficult decision for the coaches.
Yeah, and I know we have to move on to the next one, but I'll just say quickly, I just thought too early in the season they did too much working against Taylor Green when all this was happening, in my opinion. I don't think he's had the chance to show the rhythm, to show that he can complete those passes. I feel like he has, in my opinion, not gotten a fair chance this year.
Gotcha. I mean, Hank Bachmeier got benched in the first quarter of the opener last year. Andy is a quick trigger if he doesn't think the starter is doing the what he needs to be doing.
And I said last year I thought Hank Bachmeier was getting gypped too. So that maybe that's I'm on that train both years.
No, and I know there's a lot of people who probably feel that way as well. And nobody's right, nobody's wrong on this. We'll see what happens tomorrow, BJ. Question number 2.
And last thing I will say is on the 2 QB system, but by the way, I'm on Taylor Green's side, but I would almost rather them play Maddox Madsen the whole game, Mike, than this back and forth stuff. Just pick a guy and move on. That's kind of where I'm with that. But my burning question number 2, which we've talked a lot about this week, how will George Helani's return impact the offense? And I'm not just talking about, giving a play here and there to, break to Ashton Genty. I went back and watched that beginning of that Washington game when George Helani was still healthy. In the first 2 plays of the season, we saw George Helani and Ashton Genty out there on the field together. You had Helani in the backfield, you had Genty in motion moving across the field, and then on the 3rd play of the season, George Helani got hurt. So I don't think we've seen a large portion of what Bush Hampton intended this offense to be. And so, in my opinion, how much do they get back to the 2 running backs in the backfield at the same time? How much do they get back to some of what we saw last year, where this goes with my Taylor Green talk? I think it needs to be Taylor Green, Ashton Genty, George Helani running the ball 75% of the time the rest of the season. So I think you use Taylor Green's legs, you use that read option. Now that you have Helani in the mix as well, I think you go back to what worked for a good chunk of last season, and that's part of my thoughts with Green. But I think Helani, Genty, and this running game, how does this offense change? How does the play calling change? How do the formations change with George Helani back? And I do want to caution this. There's been a lot of talk with Helani and with DJ Schramm that they're playing tomorrow. Andy Avalos has never said DJ Schramm is playing tomorrow. He has never said that George Helani is playing tomorrow. So I just want to caution fans a little bit. I think George Helani probably plays and gets a little bit of action as they work him back in there. I don't think he gets 20 carries tomorrow, but I'm not 100% convinced DJ Schramm plays tomorrow. He might play, and if he does, it'll be a couple series here and there, but you are not going to see DJ Schramm playing 50 snaps tomorrow.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, this story probably gets more traction next week. I think it's cool that Helani might be back. I think it's great that he's practicing. As far as how is there going to be any type of George Helani impact on this game tomorrow? I would say no, and be pleasantly surprised if I'm a Boise State fan. And but you think George is going to be back there returning punts or something? Maybe. I don't know when and how they're going to use them, but hopefully at some point later on, George Helani is a massive part of this attack.
Yeah, I don't know about ever massive, and I'm along with the sides with you guys. To me, Ashton Genty's never going to lose his role as the power RB1, and he's going to get 95% of the production as he should. I think George Helani will get 10 to 15 plays tomorrow, but I think most of those will be decoy plays. Maybe some of the offensive 2 running back stuff that they talked about, get some stuff on film for people to think about. I think he's not only a decoy for Ashton Genty, he's a breather for Ashton Genty. George Helani is going to get 3 to 5 touches. He's going to get 10 to 15 plays. They're going to put it on film. And over the course of 5, 6, 7 games, he's going to be able to spell Ashton Genty. I truly believe that that's his role, and he'll never come back to Boise State. I guess he could if he plays in 4+ games, less than 4 games or less, he could come back. But I think this is the end, and it's a support role and nothing else. Ashton Jenney, RB1 all the way.
All right, BJ, question number 3. BJ Rains, BNN report right here on Idaho Sports Talk.
That's another obvious one, but can the defense put 4 quarters together? And we've talked about this defense, and they've had good spurts here and there, good series here and there, and they're starting to extend it a little bit now into good halves, which we saw against San Jose State in the second half with the shutout, then Colorado State in the first half with the shutout, and really all the way up until there were 6 minutes left in that game against Colorado State, they had given up 10 points. So really an 85-minute stretch of game action where they looked pretty good. And then obviously the last 6 minutes were atrocious and they lost the game on the Hail Mary. But for me, they've put some good halves together. Can they put a good game together? And you know what? The big bugaboo for Boise State's defense has been that through the air, the passing defense, as we all know. And Wyoming is not one of the better passing attacks in the country. I know, Johnny, I don't know if I'm allowed to say something negative about Andrew Peasley on this show, but he is, he's an average quarterback. They're 112th in total offense. They're 120th in passing offense at 160 yards per game. So through the air, Wyoming is not going to beat this Boise State team tomorrow. I think that this is an opportunity tomorrow for Boise State's defense to get right, to play well, to make some improvements. The numbers are terrible. Again, guys, Boise State on pace to give up 428 yards per game, which would be the second worst in the history of Boise State football, only going back to 455 yards per game, and that was in their first year in the FBS in 1996. So you are literally talking about historically the second worst defense, maybe the worst defense in the history of Boise State football to this point. It has been terrible, but if you talk to them, they feel like they're starting to get closer, and we'll see if they can put a full game tomorrow together against Wyoming.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick on this one. Boise State hopes this is a get-right game for their secondary. Wyoming hopes it's a get-right game for their passing attack, right? I have a feeling tomorrow, if Andrew Peasley is looking like this pocket passer and picking this defense apart, which he has never been, I'm going to look at Prater and I'm going to say, wait, what? Peasley has 246 passing yards and we're in the fourth, whatever, like, this is going to be one of those tests. Like, is Boise State secondary this bad? Or is Wyoming's passing attack that bad? The rubber will meet the road tomorrow at Albertson Stadium. BJ Rains, question number 4.
Just kind of summing this whole conversation up. How did we get here? How did we get to this point with Boise State football? When you think of the last 3 years and the Andy Avalos era, and you can go back to the Brian Harsin era, the last year there as well. How do we get to this point? This is Boise State football. This is one of the winningest programs of all time. This is a program where when a team would come into the blue, you had literally zero chance of winning the game. The standards, the expectations, where Boise State football is at is at a level now that we haven't seen in 2+ decades. And so to me, just how did we get to this point where we're talking about a Wyoming team coming in with a legit chance to win this game tomorrow on the blue? How are we talking about one of the worst defenses in Boise State history, about an offense that has a quarterback problem, and a team that's fighting just to get to a bowl 3-2? They have to go 3-2 just to get to a bowl game. It's crazy that we got to this point. I still don't know where the initial downfall was. We all thought Andy Avalos was the right guy for the job at the time. I'm not even convinced that he hasn't. I feel like he's got a lot of bad luck that's happened to him this year. I just have no idea how we've gotten to this point that we're covering a 3-4 football team that has to really work their tails off here the rest of the season just to get to a bowl game.
I know a lot of the haters are going to say it's because of coaching and Andy Avalos, and certainly you can point at that. There's some very curiosities. I had a former player reach out to me this week. He's now a coach in college football somewhere, and he said, Prater, what's going on with the football team? And my answers, and I gave him 7 bullet points: young roster, quarterback juggling, sad, soft secondary, not physical, no killer instinct, limited wide receiver development, and the coaches are still trying to figure all of that out. I think that that's exactly why Boise State got here, and I'm not sure that we felt that was going to be this kind of season when we started this season. So it's very curious. It's very interesting, and I have no idea if tomorrow's a get-right game. It'll probably be a Boise State victory, but I guarantee you it'll be ugly, and there'll be plenty of questions next week, guys.
Yeah, looking forward to with you tomorrow night, Bronco game night, Prater, taking all those calls. BJ, you're doing your own stuff tomorrow as well. Let everybody listening to KTIK right now know what's going on with Bronco Nation News tomorrow.
early morning pregame show tomorrow. I'll be honest. I want to watch the Kansas-Oklahoma game, so we're moving up the pregame show 8:30 tomorrow morning. I'm not going to hide it. 8:30 tomorrow morning. We'll be live 8:30 in the morning on all the Bronco Nation news channels. I got Brad Bedell coming on, who's just doing an outstanding job jumping on now as kind of a part-time analyst. We taped the interview today. Some great stuff on what it's like as a coach when you're hearing and a coach's wife and coach's kids, hearing about job questions and things out there in the open and what it's like. He went through it at Auburn. So pregame show at 8:30, and then after you guys are done with your postgame show, we'll be on YouTube on Bronco Nation News with our postgame show as well.
See you every Friday, BJ. We love these segments. Well done. Always appreciate the coverage and our partnership with BNN.
What are the odds in Vegas on a Utah, Idaho, Kansas 3-team parlay tomorrow?
Ooh, if that happens,
Just
guys,
go money line. Three money lines too.
If it happens, let's meet somewhere at 10 o'clock tomorrow and celebrate.
That'd be nice, man. Yeah.
It's on me.
Prater's Utes are favored barely. I don't know the spread of my Vandals. If they're favored, it's by 1.
Yeah, we're +9.
And Oklahoma's favored on the road against KU. I don't remember a bigger football game they've had in Lawrence, Kansas in the regular season, BJ. So enjoy that.
Yep.
I always appreciate you hopping on.
Yep, take care, guys.
Idaho Sports Talk. Thank you, BJ Rains. High school football playoffs begin tonight in the Treasure Valley. Mr. High School Football, John Patrick, will get you ready. That's our news. We're coming up on Prater on the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk.